Hey, what's going on, everyone? Moose here, and I'm back with Matt from 222 Off-Road Quick Lube Service Center. And I've got gloves on because I got to do this, don't I?
Absolutely.
Right? So, as we told you, he's going to be here for technical advice, but I think everybody needs to know how to do your own fluids, honestly. I mean, I'm not saying that we shouldn't come to Matt, but I'm saying that knowledge is power, and at least you understand what goes into this. So if in fact you do bring your side-by-side, four-wheeler, snowmobile, whatever, to a qualified individual like Matt, you understand what goes into this. It's not just, oh yeah, we're gonna dump your oil and fill it back up. I mean, come on, man, right? So we've got AMSOIL, we've got all the tools. We'll talk about the tools as we go through this, and we're gonna get started right now.
All right, I'll start you off right here, Bruce.
Okay.
It's always nice to wash it before you do it.
Well, it's the middle of winter and my hose is
I
clogged up.
understand that. I'm just saying, it is nice when they're clean.
Yeah, absolutely. I can imagine.
So we'll probably get a little
Someday it'll get clean.
Oh, we'll take care of that. You got the foam cannon and all that. We just need the weather.
Right.
So yeah, you got a 17 mil on your trans, 17 mil on the engine. Go ahead and drain the engine oil first. One thing I want to say is Moose did drive this machine over here, so the engine was up to full temp.
Yep.
It'll drain better. It'll get more of the contaminants out of the motors.
Okay. So my 17 mil is actually right here. So on this Can-Am, if you look at the back, where the back, or the, I guess the skid plate meets the back skid plate, there's an oval cutout right here. And you can look up there and see that there is in fact a 17 millimeter right there. So let's turn the wrench around so that we're actually loosening. And
we did clean out our drain pan real well. This is common.
she's on there.
All right. Oh yeah.
She was definitely on there. Holy cow.
So we cleaned out our drain pan. That way when we drain the oil, we can see what's actually
If there's
in the oil.
contaminants and
Not
all that.
dirt and old oil, you know.
All right.
So when we do this for a customer, we actually kick our video camera on.
Okay.
That way, in case if something crazy comes out of there, we have it documented.
Well, something crazy is about to come out of here.
Well, yeah, but you're here to see it, so
Right?
I don't have to video it.
Oh, look, I saved the O-ring and everything, or the washer.
So far it looks good.
Well,
it's
look,
just
there's
dark. It needed it.
I noticed that there's no real metal shavings on my magnet.
None.
So that's awesome, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it just looks dark.
Smells like
See how you
oil.
can see through the stream? It's still got life.
Tastes like oil.
Tastes like it?
Yeah, a little bit. Try
I
it.
don't taste it.
Just kidding. I didn't really taste it.
I don't taste it.
Actually, it looks clear, and it's dirty, but it's clear.
No, it's good. Another sign that they took care of it.
Right. Let me just set this down.
We got rags right here.
Yep.
You one.
So that way we can let this thing drain.
Yes, sir.
And bump my hands off a little bit. So yeah, all right.
Yeah, you must have cleaned it a little bit. Did you ever clean it? No?
When I first bought it back, after we came across the bridge, it was pretty like salt covered. So I did hit a car wash and just kind of quickly just blast the salt off of it. So yeah, I mean, there was that.
Have you had your clutch cover off?
Yep, I swapped my belt.
Okay.
So it came with a brand new belt. And I didn't know if my old belt needed to be replaced. And it, I mean, I'm just not that versed in that, but I figured, you know what? It doesn't hurt to just swap it. Plus I wanted to know how to do it.
Learn. Yeah.
That was one thing that you told me like right from the beginning is you're like, dude, you got to get in there and do it. So if you are out on the trail, you know what to do.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
So I was like, all right.
Well, just get familiar with it.
Right.
And that's what I tell a lot of my customers, like I said in the last video. Sit down, figure out what you need to get in there. That way you make it smooth when your buddies are standing behind you saying, "What's taking you so long?"
Right. You're like, bro, smooth is
So
fast.
now if you got it down pat, they'll be like, "Holy shit, it's done."
Right.
And you're like, "Yep, let's go."
Yeah, I'm just hoping I don't blow a belt. I'm really hoping this aftermarket Assassin's clutch really does me justice. And
I feel like I've seen and learned enough to where if we stay on top of it like we're doing, we're not going to have issues.
right.
I mean, you're probably going to change the belt because you feel guilty that you've went so long on the same belt that, you know what, that can turn into the spare belt. Just put a new belt
Right.
on it. Because if you went a whole summer without blowing a belt, change the sucker.
Right.
'Cause
Yeah,
you're
and
pushing your
as a
limit.
matter of fact, that's exactly what I did with my old belt. Is it's up in my
Yeah.
Ryobi link pack.
And just so you know, even if you end up with two, keep that one because you're going to run into someone on the trail with the same machine, and you'll have 2 or 3 backup belts. They're all used, and then you can do a good deed.
Right. That's true.
Happened multiple
right? Yeah,
times.
yeah,
That
yeah.
happens around here. 'Cause-
So is my belt exchangeable with like an X3?
Oh, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but not an X3.
But a
maybe
Maverick
with other machines. I know the 2 and 4 seaters are the same,
Right.
but still, you will find someone, or I might even call you one time at 10 o'clock at night and be like, "Moose, you got an extra belt because this guy just blew it and nothing's open and I don't
Yep.
have one." And you'll find people never forget that.
Yep, for sure. For sure.
So let's go ahead and put your drain plug on. You're
Okay.
down to a drip. You'll be all right, and then we'll drain the trans while we're right here.
Do you want me to tighten it back up all the way?
Yes,
Okay.
getting a good habit. Actually, hold on. This is something I always do, and I know you already cleaned it on there, but I'll take and I'll spray it off with a little brake clean, right?
Yep.
And then usually I'll spray right around the
Just to make sure it's
drain
nice and
plug,
clean.
yep, and make sure she's nice and clean. Grab your rag real quick. And then I'll just take my finger the best I can and actually like stick it right in the hole so you're not wiping the outside residue in. And just twist your finger, but with your finger in the hole.
Right.
Then check it, it's nice and clean.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And then you're good to go.
Okay. All right. Pretty good at finding it. There we go.
Now, something I guess I didn't say, but I looked at is that crush washer.
Yep.
Did you notice how it wasn't crushed down? It hadn't been used a bunch of times.
Right.
So you can get away with using them.
Okay.
The actual AMSOIL kit here,
Yeah.
it's a multi-kit, so it can be used for other machines. And for some reason, they don't send that new crush washer in this kit for this machine.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I have new ones in the bins, but if it's not needed, it's not needed.
I think we're pretty good.
Yeah, you're good. It looked brand new. And knowing these people, they probably always replaced it.
Right? Come on. There it is. And then
Now, right there, don't use that over there.
use it here.
Yes, sir.
And just,
Yep, that's plenty.
okay.
So now, before we're done, we are gonna put a torque wrench on it.
Okay.
Just to see what your torque is.
Okay.
Because you right there, I don't know if that was 13 foot-pounds or 40, because I don't know your wrist strength.
Right.
Now, for the first 100 machines we ever did, only thing that ever went on was a torque wrench. But what we do is we'll torque it by hand, and then you check it, and you get the feel of it.
Sure.
You get where I'm
Yep,
coming from? But
yep.
right now, you remember what kind of torque you put on that? When we check it with the torque wrench, that will give you some kind of a gauge.
Okay.
So, I mean, that torque wrench is $1,200. Not everybody has a torque wrench.
Sure. Yep. So we're going to set this pan aside, right? Because we still want to
Yep, we got
examine
3
this
separate,
oil.
because we're really trying to be detailed and see what's going on here.
Right.
So
Okay.
we'll set this aside for now.
And then we can move this over here underneath the transmission. All right.
Once again, 17 millimeter. And you see how tight that is? No need for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the strongest person in the world, but I assure you I'm not the weakest. I got a lot of weight behind me.
That's what I mean. To
So if
see
I'm
you
pulling
working
that hard,
it's
right.
definitely over torqued. But a lot of people do it.
Right.
I mean, it's just
I put it on with an impact.
for a peace of mind. It's great because you know it's not going to fall out. But when you go to take it out, sometimes it don't come out. So we find here at the service shop, people will bring their machine in that always do their own oil.
Right.
Well, they over torque their engine bolt, their drain bolt. So now all of a sudden they want a professional to do their engine oil. And we get in there and we see a freshly stripped bolt. And we're like, oh, now I know why you want
Yeah, you
us to
brought
do
it
that.
here because you already done stripped it out.
Happens quite often.
Yeah, all right. I think that should be it. Yep,
Oh, look at that, brand new.
it is brand new, isn't it?
Yep. Ooh.
I caught it.
But yeah, that's very good news. So how many miles you got on it?
About 100 or so.
Okay, so you're in real good shape, buddy.
Right.
Because if there was something going on in there, 100 miles, you would see it. That's brand new. You almost feel guilty draining it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he did tell me that, you know, they kept up on it. No, there's nothing. It doesn't feel like it.
When we do a first service on a machine with 500 miles on it, there's 10 times more on it than that.
Right.
So
I mean,
the
there's a
fact that-
little bit.
Yeah, but that's nothing. I
Right.
can show you some pictures that'll scare you.
I mean, it's
I expected to see
more.
9,200 miles worth of, like, you get where I'm
Crap.
coming from? It's not.
Right. So we definitely have a home run so
You can
far.
tell by the feel and the smell. She's Amsoil. That's what they've been doing. That's why it's been staying up like it is.
Right.
They've been using the right stuff. No, I don't know that for a fact, but
I'm feeling way better. I mean,
Wait,
I have
you
to
should,
admit,
you should.
hey, I
That's
was a
very
little
impressive.
nervous at first, like, oh man, I really hope this doesn't
well, if you
suck.
remember what I told you in the last video is that engine oil usually people stay up on top of, but the trans and diffs is what I see fail more
Right.
than anything because they don't think of that.
Yeah, they think
This
engine
guy,
oil.
I'm going to tell you right now, they never did an engine oil without doing a trans.
Right.
Or that would show somewhere.
For sure. And you know, and I just want to say, you know, I appreciate you guys sticking it out. I know this is going to be a long video, but me personally, like every time I go out and I look for videos on like how to do this, nobody ever really just has a conversation and gets to know you guys. Because you know what? Without you guys, we wouldn't have any reason to do this. So thank you guys very much for the, you know, the watch time that you guys are putting in. And if you would, just be so kind as to give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything extra. And I understand, but just like everybody else, so I would say like 80% of all my views come from people that aren't actually subscribed to my channel.
I see that a lot.
Yeah, and you know, and I get it, but I promise I won't spam you with a bunch of garbage. Everything I'm gonna do is gonna be stuff that you're probably interested in. You know, even with my other outdoor activities, generally speaking, when people want to be outdoors and they have this kind of equipment, they're doing the other outdoor stuff too. So, you know, but all right, that's looking.
I think you're good to cap that. I mean, that fluid's beautiful.
All right, you want to spray that one off for me?
Usually we would sit and let it drain, do the next one, but we're trying to show them also.
Sure. So around the inside of the magnet here, show the peeps.
All right, so you can see up in there around the magnet, it's probably, I'd say 3/8 of an inch deep. There's a bunch of metal still stuck in there, so I'm gonna try to get that out. If you don't, it's not a big deal because
And then which way does this washer go on?
you can see the side that's crushed. Well, they're both crushed. Let's open
It's concave this way.
so that would be up.
So yeah, just taking a little bit of time, and you know, I can remember being a kid and like washing my dad's truck and like scrubbing the spot for hours thinking, man, I'm gonna make this thing so sweet. My dad's gonna love it. Same thing, take good care of your stuff. It'll take good care of you. The more proper maintenance that you do, the more fun you're gonna have. Nobody wants to be broke down on the trail because you kind of half rear-ended something, or you went to change your engine oil but didn't do your diffs and your transmission, and then you blow a diff. Yeah.
It's hard to get it all.
Yeah,
out,
I
but
get
make
it.
sure this mating surface is nice and clean before you put that on. You know, it's just a good habit. But I'd say this goes down.
That looks about right. All right. So you want to wipe that one out too?
I can. That's why it's nice to let it finish, but let me see here.
It just a little bit. I love brake cleaner.
Apparently the guys do too, because we go through a ton of it.
I'll bet, right?
Cases.
I mean, yeah,
I'm serious.
it cleans everything.
Oh, it does.
You know?
Yeah,
So,
see, that's nice. That's in good shape.
all right, let me get this up in there. You always want to start these things too by hand, not by any kind of power tool or, you know, a wrench, because if you cross thread this, you're going to be visiting Matt, because this is a bigger job than just, you know.
Well, to be honest, I always use hand tools when I'm doing this.
Yeah, for sure.
Even pulling it and everything, because it gets oil all over my high dollar tools.
Right, makes sense. And the nice thing about oil on a ratchet is, well, keeps it nice and lubed. Okay, all right.
Curious to see what your torque on your
I'm trying to
ratchet
be
is.
gentle.
I know, I'm just curious.
Yeah, I get it.
Because you're a big guy.
I don't try
Even
to
though
be.
you choked up on it, it still might be a little tight, but
Right.
you'll be all right.
It isn't stripped, I can tell you that.
No, absolutely
All right.
not. All right, we'll
So-
get this out of the way, which was nice fluid. I mean, no complaints, no shine, no metallic color to it or anything. So
Killing it.
I'm definitely impressed with that. Let me grab this other pan and we'll move to the front. Whoop.
No rear
Tell me
diff?
there.
Oh, it's transmission, right?
Yep,
So there's no
transmission.
rear diff.
Correct.
It's transmission to it. All right. So we're going to be right back. I'm going to take these gloves off, reposition the camera. We're going to move up front, and we're going to go from there. So be right back. Okay. We're at the front.
5 mil Allen. And I stepped you down to a 1/4 inch ratchet because I see your torque looks a little tough.
All right.
So the Allens are a lot harder or easier to strip,
Gotcha.
you know? So if you start putting some power on this,
Okay.
I got tricks to get it off. So go ahead and
Gotcha.
try it.
Oh, nope, it came.
Good deal.
Pretty easy. Of course, I don't have gloves on, but that's all right.
Now we'll see. This is the last one. If this checks out good, your whole machine checked out great.
And
It's clean.
it's perfect.
You're in great shape.
It's perfect.
Great shape.
Freaking winning. Charlie Sheen winning.
So you watch at the difference amount of fluid that actually comes out of the front diff opposed to the trans
Right?
is quite a bit different. Not as much in the front. And if you look, you can already see there is a
Thanks,
little
Matthew.
bit of metallic to it.
Yeah.
Front diffs take a lot of wear.
Okay. But after we,
Look at that. What's that? It was just a little
like
bit
a bubble or
a little
something?
bit of condensation maybe or something. Because it, see the white?
Yeah.
I think it was just condensation.
You know what the cool thing is? It's getting fresh AMS oil. So it's going to make it all better anyway. It's like the ultimate Band-Aid. Just add some AMS oil,
You're
boy,
not
it'll be
Band-Aiding
fine.
this. This is in good shape, buddy.
Here, you want this rag?
I got more. I'll grab
All
it.
right. Yeah, I can definitely see the difference in how much came out. So that makes sense. So I thought I actually had an engine, a trans, and 2 differentials, whereas my rear end actually comes directly out of the transmission. So it's all the same.
That's your trans, rear, everything. So that's what I was saying. That's good news. That's all your gears are operating in there, and you had
Right.
no signs of it.
No signs. That's just crazy. That is nuts. But I see it. Yeah. Sure enough. God dang. Look at us go. Look at me go. Look at you go. So do we want to take these pans, put them over on the table, and then we'll show
We should
everybody?
do that. That's
You know, we can run a magnet through it if you want.
See,
Or,
like on this one,
Yeah.
I see a little like normal.
yeah.
If you look, you kind of got to stand over here, but you can see
I can
a
see
little
shiny
bit of
little
sparkles
flakes.
coming down, but no chunks, nothing that concerns me at all.
Good.
But it's definitely a front diff. You usually see something in the front diffs.
Right.
A lot of guys skip it, so
Yeah,
I
not
don't
me.
recommend anyone do that.
Well, you got to remember too, and from what I've been learning is, you know, you're in 4-wheel drive, you come through some whoops, your front tires come off the ground, even if they're just slight off the ground, and you're still on the gas, and then you come back down, and they're just like, "Brr," and everything's grabbing again.
Yeah, it's wear and tear,
you know,
big time.
I mean, that's how I see most people break axle shafts.
Yeah.
You know, they got their front wheels spinning, or even their back wheels. They come off the ground, they hit the ground, and bada boom, bada bing.
There's one brand out there that they say you can't be on the throttle when the tires come off the ground. I'm not going to say what brand, but I don't think that's cool. You can't be on the throttle when the tires come off the ground. Thought it was off-road toy.
Right. Yeah, as far as I know, except for that one, these are all OEM.
I got buddies that drive Can-Ams and they never let off the throttle.
Right.
And if they break a CV shaft, it's usually like at the last video, it's because they had a ripped boot or something.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. All right. We're going to cut here then, and
Well, you got to finish cleaning up there, right?
oh yeah, that's true. I still
Check your
still
O-ring
got
on there.
Yep, O-ring did look good.
I'll get this cleaned up.
Yeah, this O-ring actually looks really good.
Yeah, she's,
Look at nice and shiny.
yeah. Whoever you bought this from, you need to text them and thank them
Yeah.
because they did you good.
Yep. You know, and honestly, it really boiled down to the reason that I knew what to look for was because of the conversation that Matt and I had before I went and looked at it.
Well, it was probably more than one conversation, right?
It was quite a few, yeah, because I mean, I was nervous.
He was ready to pay me to drive to Ohio with him because
Right.
he was concerned. And I said, no, I'm telling you, these are the things you look for.
Yep.
And if you don't see these, you should be good.
Right.
And you did. You followed my instructions and
Yep.
you ended up with a good machine. Like the worst thing on the whole machine is the control arm paint being gone.
Right.
You know?
I can repaint that.
I know.
So this one I'm going to be really gentle with,
Yes.
right? Just yeet, click,
It's probably plenty.
click, click.
Yep. Now we're going to check them at the end.
Okay.
So we'll know.
All right. All right, we'll be right back. We'll look at these oils and these fluids. Well, I guess they're all oils. And we'll talk about them in a second.
All right, so we got the oils set out in our drain pans for you.
Yep.
So first we did engine oil.
Engine oil.
So we'll grab this and we'll see if we can get a little bit. All right, so if you look at that, I don't know if the camera shows it, but there is no metallic look or anything. I've seen engine oil look like paint.
Right.
You know, it's just black engine oil. It's clean. I mean,
It looks good to me.
I think it looks great. Now the engine oil does look a little bit more used than the trans.
Okay.
So maybe they just did trans and diff right before they sold it because they had just recently did a oil change. I'm not positive. This is transmission. And if you look there, that is like brand spanking new oil. The only thing that you're seeing, the little bit of white, is just some moisture. Because if you go through, you know, your transmission's hot, you go through a deep water hole, it'll suck in a little bit of moisture, a little bit of water through your seals.
Gotcha.
You know, that hot to cold. But that oil is close to brand new. I mean, you said you have 100 miles on it?
Yeah.
That's about what I see there.
Okay.
And then front diff, I can see a little bit of metallic going on in here. And if you look, you can see it yourself. You see it, Moose?
Yeah, I saw
Just
it
see
a
how
little
it kind
bit
of looks
early.
a little painty?
Yeah.
So it's got, but this is normal. That's what they're supposed to have. It's
Right.
gear on gear.
Right, right, right.
So if you go like this and you let it drain down on the bottom, kind of like gold panning, you'll see a couple little flakes in there.
Yep, I can see them.
Right? See them? I mean,
Just
there's-
little
there's-
tiny ones.
But that is no concern whatsoever. You will see, not to mention a buddy's name, but I changed a buddy's diff fluid,
Yeah.
and it looked like silver metallic paint.
That's not good.
And then we changed it again about 2 weeks later, and it looked like silver metallic paint.
Right.
And then about 2 weeks later, he called me and said, I need a new diff. I blew my front diff.
Oh, that's
So-
really not good.
So what had happened is he had went too long before he brought it, and by the time we checked it, she was on her way out.
Right.
You know, but I would say, like from looking at this, if I didn't know the history on the machine and you said, Matt, check this oil out, this is on my front diff, how many miles are on this machine? I would say between 500 and 2,000 miles.
Right.
Not 9,200.
Yeah, and not only that, but I think the bigger thing to keep in mind on staying up on this kind of maintenance is it tells you if there's a problem, right? Like if your diff or your transmission's starting to have a problem and, you know, and you're consistent in changing your fluids, you're going to go from this and then one day you're going to drain it and you're going to be like, wow, it's a lot of metal shavings. So I need to address it before it completely goes out.
See, and for me, I like to beat on my toys.
Right.
So this gives me peace of mind. So if I drain my stuff, like I think I haven't told these guys, but I've told you, I'll change my front diff and rear diff because my trans is separated, but I'll change it within 500 miles every time.
Right.
Just because.
Yep.
When I drain it, it looks good, peace of mind. But I've replaced my rear diff 4 times.
Yep. Yep.
So I'm over that.
Right. Yeah. You don't want to do it anymore. Right.
So since I've been changing oils like that often, I haven't had no failures.
Nice.
Cost me a little more for the fluids and a little more time, but it's better than buying a $1,500 rear diff.
Sure. Absolutely right. All right. Well, what are we going to do next?
We're going to lower it down. We're going to have to, we're going to check our torques before we lower it down.
Okay.
So we'll do that. Then we'll get to the engine oil filter, which is a little bit of a pain. You were mentioning maybe a relocate kit already.
Yeah, I think I'd rather have my oil filter like right here in the back of the machine where I can just reach up underneath my tire and unscrew it and be done.
Yep, and it's a little less messy too because this is a cartridge filter.
Right.
So when you change it, you definitely slop all over it.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen videos where people stuff rags in there just to catch all the oil so it doesn't go everywhere and stuff.
And I got a tech that he's all about that. He stuffs rags everywhere, and when he gets done, it is
pristine.
Primo. Now me, I'm sloppy compared to him. I'll just be honest.
Right.
I'll have oil all down my elbows.
Right.
And everything.
All right, we'll be right back. We're back.
All right, you're back.
We're back.
All right, so now we're gonna test Moose's wrist torque. So we got our torque wrench set to 22 foot-pounds for the trans and the engine. We'll start on the engine first. Well, you did the engine first, right?
Yeah.
That was your first one. So we're at 18, 20, 22. Yep, you're at 27 foot-pounds. So not terrible.
No, I'm only 5 over.
Basically leaning it from 22 to 25.
Right.
So you did good. That was real good. Now with the trans, she's starting to move at 21. Wow, you're at 22.3. So you're spot on. So your first one, you're a little off, but you zeroed it right in.
Yeah.
Good job.
And then we already did test the front one, and I was a little over. So the front one was what? 25 inch-pounds.
24 inch-pounds, which is like 2 foot-pounds.
Right.
So it does not take much to over-torque
Right.
it. That's why I gave you that small.
Yep.
quarter
And I was
inch.
at what, 34?
34.
So not too bad, a little over-torqued, but
So
I mean,
you were almost 3 foot-pounds instead of 2.
Right.
You were within spec, but that has an O-ring up front, so they don't call for it to be real tight.
sure.
But yeah, you did excellent. So like I showed you guys, or I showed Moose, choke up on that wrench or that ratchet when you're spinning it, and it will help you a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
So that portion's done. Now we just gotta lower her down, fill up fluids, oil filter, and then onto the clutch.
All right, so we are now going to get to the oil filter. And this is gonna be fun. It always is. pull these back seats out. And with these, you can really, they push straight up. Just like that. So, and in here, we're actually gonna pop these lowers and just set them down here. Because there's a plate right here that we actually have to pop these out of. And then I'm just gonna move my sound bar over there. Yep. Kind of a bad design, if you ask me.
Okay, there's clips to take the heat shield off.
Of course, they're on the back side, aren't they?
I feel like we can definitely get to it.
I mean, every video that I saw people do this, but I didn't want to break it. So, to be honest with you, the last time I accessed the engine to change my spark plug wires, there we go. That's how they did it. And look, you can see my drive shaft now.
Yep, let's pull on that.
He's not saying anything. That makes me even more nervous.
No, it's all right. See that?
Yeah.
They always have slop right there. It's the U-joint you're looking for.
U-joint good?
Yeah, U-joint's good.
Okay. All right.
All right, now I don't know if they can see, but right down here, that's your oil
Yes.
cover.
Yep.
8mm. And
Do you want me to hold the camera down here?
I mean, I don't know if it's gonna help them any.
Right, you're not gonna be able to see it with your
You're not
hand
gonna be
there.
able to see it.
So just to let you guys know, there's a flat plate and it sits up against the side of the engine. And you'll see there's 3 8mm.
Oh, and they got them tight too. Yep.
There's 3 8mm bolts down there, and it's literally right behind this. So you'll
That
definitely
one was
see
right.
it.
One wasn't too tight. Oh, that one was tight.
Them guys really went to town, huh?
Oh, they're just making sure nothing rattled loose.
We don't want it to leak, so we're trying to wrench it in there. You want a rag for down there?
Yes, absolutely.
Mr. Sloppy Pants.
I told you.
I know, right?
That's why like 95% of customers that come to us get a wash job.
Right, because you're
Serious.
sloppy.
Well, because it ends up in the skid plate.
Well, look, here's the one that I put the grease on. So might as well trash
Just stick it right down underneath.
let it catch all
Catch
day
it the
oil.
best you can. They're 8mm back here, and they're definitely not easy to get to. That's why Moose has been mentioning the relocate.
Yep. Yeah. Ever since I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I mean, I get it. I mean, you know, I think every machine's got its one thing where you're like, you know what? If Can-Am did it like Polaris or Polaris did it like Can-Am, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You know, but you can't have everything.
Okay, so one's hard to get to there. You can't even see it.
I can see it from here.
Yeah, that angle.
Yep.
I can't really see it from here.
Oh, back towards you a little bit.
No, it's actually right here.
Oh, then I was looking at the wrong
That's
bolt.
what I'm saying. It's in here. Can't even see it. That sucker. Okay, I'm on it.
Because there's another 8mm as well. I don't know what that one's for then.
No, that one you're seeing right there, that's the one I broke loose that said, I said, oh, they didn't have it that tight. Well,
Oh.
It wasn't the cap. It was,
Gotcha.
the cap was hidden back here. This fits in there nice and tight. There's your oil filter.
There it is.
Oh, see, making a mess.
Making a mess. All right, we're gonna grab the new stuff and we'll be right
Well,
back.
hold on 1 second. I
Okay.
want to show them something.
All right. There.
So on this,
Yeah.
there's an O-ring.
Yes, sir.
It'll come in the kit with the AMSOIL kit.
Okay.
But sometimes you don't. If you don't get an AMSOIL kit, you might not get that. You want to inspect that real good. 'Cause
We're gonna
that's what
replace
keeps
it
you-
anyway.
Yeah, we are. But
Yeah.
I'm telling for them, if they don't get one, make sure that's in good shape. Because if not, that's where you're gonna get a leak.
Right. And the worst part about a leak in a sealed like compartment like this is you're really not gonna notice it.
If you park it inside,
I
a lot
do.
of times you'll see stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but if it's parked outside in the dirt or in the grass, you'll never see
You
it.
never see it.
So that's a good point to make, though, is I always peek underneath my machine
Right.
and look to see if I got any oil residue.
Well, I pull it in the same spot in the garage all the time. So when I back out, I mean, but it's the same
yeah,
thing,
but
right?
even driving down the trail, if you just feel like you might have smelt something or you just feel like you want to check,
Yeah.
if you look under your skid plate, you will see residue.
Oh,
You
yeah,
get where
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
coming
yeah.
from?
You'll see like streaks of
Yeah,
oil.
if you're like, man, did I tighten that? Is it sealed? You know, because that happens,
Right,
right?
right,
You get in your
yeah.
head. So that's just a good indication that everything's good when you look under there.
Sure. Makes sense.
So yeah, we'll get the other O-ring and get that kit opened up, and we'll get the new filter in there.
All right. We'll be right back. Go ahead.
All right, so I started a little early, but we got our new O-ring on. We made sure we cleaned that mating surface real good.
Yep.
And then we cleaned in there the best we could.
Yes, we did.
It's hard to see.
Yeah.
It has an O-ring, so do your best.
Sure.
You take your cap, pop your filter, it'll pop right in there. Bingo, bango.
So let's show that real close so that everybody can see.
So
You can see that filter actually, there's little nubs on the inside of this that'll hold that filter. It kind of like cuts into this groove a little bit, like it pushes into that groove. And then there's your filter. So it's perfectly lined up.
it'd be nice if it came out that way too.
Yeah, I think I've seen a couple of people that did get it to do that, but yeah, good luck.
Look at there. She fit right in there nice and snug.
Nice and snug, like a glove.
Now you gotta get your 8mm down in there by hand. So you know it's nice and, you're not cross-threading anything. I actually screw them all the way in just like I screwed them all out by hand.
Yeah,
That way you don't have to mess with the ratchet much. Just
Totally
a little,
makes sense.
Yeah. Once again, I like to use the 1/4 inches because you're not going to over torque things.
right. Yeah, you definitely don't want to stick a 3/8 or a 1/2 inch in
Yeah.
there. Not that you could, well, I guess you could always.
Oh, you can put some stuff in there.
Right.
They make a tool for everything,
That's a fact.
you know.
Yeah, and if they don't, Jim Bob down the street, I assure you, can make us one.
Oh yeah, exactly. You know what I just thought about?
What'd you just think about?
What am I doing? This is supposed to be you.
Yeah, except for the fact that you're a lot more limber and flexible than I am. But I would agree. All right, take it all off. I'm going to start
I
over.
just thought about it. Like, what am I
Not me. I'm
As soon as my
not
back,
going to lie. I intentionally did this.
as soon as my back started aching, I'm like, wait a minute. I thought I was like running a camera or
Right?
something tonight.
Right? I'm older.
But see, what's taking me so long is even though I screwed it down by hand, it's hard to get your ratchet to work on that small of a bolt in that situation.
Right? I did hear it click, though.
Oh, I got two of them.
The torque click,
But
click.
that third one, that one in the very back,
Yeah.
you can't see, a little bit harder to get to. Come on.
Well, you do have an extension over here.
No, it's for my fingers. If
Oh,
wanna
I see.
Tighten it down to where it starts to get tight. Fingers don't fit that well.
That makes sense.
Alrighty.
So we definitely need to get an oil filter relocation kit because I don't ever want to go through this again, except for actually putting the relocation kit in.
Yeah, then we got to do it one more time.
That's it.
And that's all.
And then, yep, filter in the back. And
Who makes them?
I can't remember, but I do have it bookmarked. So I will let you know, and we will make sure to.
We'll have to start carrying them because there's a few machines that are like this. I think a Ranger, Polaris Ranger's
Yeah.
one. The Defender, I believe,
Yeah.
is real similar to this.
Yep.
And I think the Expedition.
The
Expedition's
Commander,
hard to
the
get to.
Commander and the Maverick are the same.
Gotcha.
The Defender is a little bit different, but I don't know how much different. But I know the interior-wise and the way the layout is, everything's interchangeable.
But I know that when they pull them in and we're doing a service and I flip the bed and the oil filter's right there, I definitely am happy about that.
Right, for sure.
No,
for sure.
no joke. And the cleanliness. You know, I'm not dripping stuff in inside their machine.
Right.
I'm out there.
Right.
So it's definitely a lot easier.
Yep.
And the cool thing about that is it uses like a car automotive filter, so you can get it at O'Reilly's.
Oh,
You
yeah,
can get it
yeah,
where you
exactly,
want,
right.
Where this is a Can-Am filter. So,
Right.
I mean, I know it does cross the wicks and everything, but a lot of these automotive shops, not the one here in town, they're pretty seasoned with these off-road toys, but a lot of them don't really quite understand the off-road world.
Right.
They're
Right.
automotive.
Yeah. And not only that, but I think AMSOIL actually makes an oil filter like for a car.
Oh,
so,
yeah,
so we
absolutely.
can continue to run the AMSOIL filters
Yep,
just as an external. Yep.
Yep.
So sweet. All right. So are we done here then?
Yep, we can knock that down, get our clips in real quick.
All right. So, and then for those of you guys that have never seen these before, this is how these clips work, right? When you push this in, it spreads these little wings out, right? So you start with them out and kind of pinch them together, stick them into the hole, push that thing in, and bada boom, bada bing, it ain't moving at all. They're really easy to use, and they're really cheap too. So if you break one, don't freak, because you can get like a 50 pack for like, I don't know, it's like $6. It might even be cheaper than that. I don't remember. So, but it does help if you kind of pre-pinch them a little bit to stick them into the hole. Like every once in a while, you can tell this one's been used a lot. It's a little more difficult, there it goes, to get into the hole, but there we go. All right, so oil next, yeah?
Engine oil.
So we have our oil dipstick. It actually says oil on it.
So hold on.
All right, I'm holding.
Before you do that, take brake clean, spray it off. Take a rag, wipe all that nasty stuff around it off.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
And once you take it off, you're gonna wanna do the same as like we do on the drain plugs.
Okay.
You're gonna wanna clean right around the edge, you know?
Yeah.
So go ahead and pull it off.
Okay.
So same thing, take your rag, maybe squirt a little bit of brake clean on it. Wipe that edge, and then I'll go ahead and take care of this the same way. The oil, the O-ring, everything, clean it right off.
All right. Yeah, I
Right?
got
We don't
definitely
want
got
that
some
crap. Yeah,
got
that
some
could
dirt
end
on
up
there.
in your engine, you never know.
Right. Nobody wants dirty oil.
Yeah, and you never know. Someone might have never cleaned this in 9,200 miles. Never know.
Right. Keeping in mind that I'm going for 30,000. I think that's a good goal. So
I think you can do it no problem. You keep that AMSOIL in there.
without a doubt, right? So I am gonna tell you guys that honestly, every single person that I've seen doing oils, everybody uses AMSOIL, and there's a reason for that, because it really truly is the best. So this is gonna take, what was it, 2.11 quarts.
Yep.
So
You want a funnel?
yeah, we should probably do that, just because, you know, nobody wants it all over your floor.
You know, I already told you I'm always messy, you know? So
Right.
I probably wouldn't use one, but that's because I know I'm going to wash the machine afterwards.
Right? Hey, you can wash it if you want. It's like 36 degrees outside.
I'm not as anxious to wash them when it's cold out.
Yeah, me either. Well, actually, I am, to be honest with you. It's kind of driving me nuts to have it this dirty. And, you know, like I just, yeah.
All right, so you guys watching, remember what this machine looks like, because as soon as the weather breaks, we're going to bring it in here. We're going to do a full detail, and this thing is going to look better than brand new.
Okay.
I'm telling you right now, it'll be amazing.
First quart down, second quart going in.
So 2.11, right?
Yes.
So what I would do is I'd just put the 2 quarts in.
Yep.
After we're done with all the fluids, I'll fire it up, let it run for 2-3 minutes, shut it down, top it off.
And then we'll top it off. Okay. And then, you know, here's another good point. So I'm going to actually take one of these quarts as well, and I'm going to keep it in my machine just in case, right? You're out on the trail. Who knows what happens? Maybe you just, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's just having oil with you is better than not having any oil, especially if you got to get home.
You want to know where it'll come in most handy? Is somebody else on the trail.
Right.
I'll put money on that. You'll
for sure.
Keep this, and it will end up going to someone that's in need.
Somebody that's in need.
I'm telling you, because you're going to stay on your machine enough to where you're probably not going to lose any oil consumption. You're not going to have any issues. It's good to have it, but you will come across a weekender that's like, dude, I just checked my oil and I have no oil.
Right, and you're like, well,
ta-da!
Here's a quart.
AMS oil.
Here's a quart to get you home.
Yep.
And with AMS oil, that's all you really need.
It's happened so many times on the trail where I have extra stuff and it goes to other people.
Right. Okay. So that's done.
So you got 2 quarts in there.
Yep.
You're good to go on that. Now, right there, do you see that gray cap? It's under that
This
wire
one?
there.
Yeah.
That's going to be a 17 mil.
Okay.
Here you go.
That looks like it's going to be hard to get to.
No, watch with your
Maybe I need to.
with your
Okay, I see.
ratchet.
I see.
Now be careful with that. It is plastic.
Oh, okay.
See, they got it way too.
Do you want me to spray this off?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep,
See, hey,
there you
I'm
go.
learning.
Yep.
I'm learning. I was like looking at all that dirt and I'm going, you know what? It's just like surface dirt, but there you go.
It's another one of them things that is just peace of mind.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
Like
you
I
did
totally get it.
What you're supposed to do.
Yep. Okay. Oh yeah, it's definitely plastic. It doesn't take anything to undo it.
No.
So let's push
It
this.
doesn't take much to put it back on either. It's got an O-ring in there. It's not going anywhere.
Right. So
The cool thing about Can-Am is they got a dipstick
on the oil.
on the trans also.
All right. Just trying to get that wire out of the
A
way.
lot of them are just filled till it comes out the hole.
Ta-da! All right, so we're gonna clean
It's
this
nice
one.
and clean too.
It is, yeah. All right, so I'm gonna grab another rag, and I'm gonna just spray this rag a little bit, just so I can wipe the top of this, just to make sure I get nice and clean. Look at all that dirt. All right, so that was good. That was a good idea. Oh, here. All right. Now, transmission fluid.
Severe gear.
AMS oil, severe gear.
Blue
So how much of this am I using?
It calls for just under a quart, I believe,
Okay.
right out of the AMSOIL chart. But once again, we got a dipstick. So if it's calling for a quart, I'd pour about 3/4 of a quart in it, dip her in there, and see where you're at.
Okay. Shake it just to...
You don't.
I'm just kidding. I'm joking. But boy, you can smell that. Wow.
Oh, that's definitely.
Oh, that's got some definite smell to it.
So remember I mentioned breaking a bunch of rear differentials?
Yeah.
Well, my wife just, that smell makes her sick. So anytime I'm working with rebuilding a transmission or something, I come in the house.
You go straight for the shower?
No, I walk in the door and she's like, I smell diff fluid.
Right?
I think it's because it costs us a lot of money. It like brings back bad memories. Right?
That's funny.
Thousands of
All
dollars.
right, so I'd say that's
Yeah, that's good.
not good.
Yeah. Oh, here, let me see your rag, wipe her off.
So we're gonna pull this out, save it for Holly.
She's gonna smell it on me.
Right. All right, so with this, I don't actually want to screw it in, right?
It's a dipstick, not a screw stick.
Right. All right, get it back out of there. And we are way low.
Yep. So go ahead and, with the looks of that, I would do your full quart. Where are you going to put your sticker at? Your AMSOIL sticker.
I don't know.
So by the way, guys, you get an AMSOIL sticker, a little tool kit, all kinds of little fun stuff inside the AMSOIL oil change.
Yeah, it was cool.
Probably should have showed them that. But you got all excited and put it in your pocket.
Sure did. I'm like, man, ain't nobody
It's like,
snagging
can I
mine.
keep this? This is cool. I've only got like 500 of them, I think.
Right.
It'll be all right.
So we're still at the same.
Yeah.
I think AMSOIL was wrong.
Well,
I think it's got to be closer to 2 quarts. Because if you see how much came out of the machine, that was a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we're still at the same spot.
All right, go ahead and get her some more. That's why we got 2 quarts. But AMSOIL calls for 0.9 something quarts, so I don't know.
I don't know either. It's about half, roughly. No, it's about a third of that one, but we want to go slow because slow is better. Then we don't have to drain any.
Yeah.
All right. And we're just at the bottom of the line. Can you guys see that?
Yep, just a little touch more.
Just give her just a skosh. Whoops. Probably enough in there that I just threw all over your floor. That's the other reason I didn't want to do it in my garage. I'm joking. No, I would have been an icicle by now, laying on my garage floor. And
Just a touch.
okay.
I think she was close.
She's right on the money now, kid. All right. All right, wishful thinking. Here we go. Must have been a metric quart. What AMSOIL was saying.
Screw it in.
Okay.
See where she comes up.
Boy, whoever designed this engineer is a moron. I think that. But I agree with you that it's a dip, not a screw.
Yeah, but you know, if you would have just asked me how much it takes, I'd say about 2 quarts.
Right.
My guess would have been 1.9. It's real common with Polaris, all of them. Is about.
And that's why, you know, it's always a good idea to check, right? Not just assume that AMSOIL didn't make a mistake. And,
absolutely.
And, you know what I mean? Because
it wouldn't be the first time because there's so many makes and models.
Right.
And they change. it's definitely something I double check every time. But like I said, most of them are just till it comes out the fill hole.
Right.
So there's no way to mess that up. And then this has a dipstick, so once
Right.
again, no way to mess it up. Well, we're right on the money now.
We are on the money.
Yep.
And that was just about 2 quarts. I mean, there's only, let's see. Oh, I put it up here. So it was about 2, I mean, there's like 10 ounces left in this thing. So,
Yeah, so, yep.
that was pretty good. AMSOIL's just wrong on that one. We'll have to call and correct them.
Sometimes there's no capacity when you look up a machine.
Right.
And this, once again, is like no kind of torque.
Right. You're just snugging it
Yeah.
down. All right. We're going to probably lift this thing up just a tad, and we're going to head over to the front end and put some front diff fluid in her.
Yep. That
And,
one might be a little funner to get to. We'll
Right.
see.
So we'll be right back. All right, so here we are in the front, and I'm going to zoom in here in a second. But you can see this is my front bumper where the winch plate is, and if we zoom in, you can see right there where that little nub is right there. That's actually the fill port.
So if you see that tool, that's a good one to have. A ball on the end.
Oh yeah, I've got a whole set of them.
That way you can get in there.
Yes,
and
sir.
A long reach, because you won't get a ratchet in there comfortably.
Right.
Yep, she's gonna be over torqued again. All right, so in that case, you get rid of the ball.
Right,
and
you go to a
solid because
solid.
you don't want to strip it out.
Right, for sure. While he's not looking, I'm going to hit it with a little brake cleaner. There we go.
It's amazing how clean it is. Okay, I hope that. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna give me a little extension so I can.
Now, worst case scenario, we can always put heat to it too, right? A little bit of heat.
Oh, we'll get it off, but the number one thing you want to do is just take your time and get it off.
Right.
Don't just
Don't-
go ham, because
right.
I could have just screwed us up, and it's like getting the air chisel in there, or who knows what it does. Some in X3, if you messed up that bolt, you basically got to pull the front diff.
Well, that ain't good.
It's hard to get to.
Let's not do that.
Yeah, we're not doing that. All right, ready?
There it
Yeah.
goes. Woo!
See? Like
So,
I said,
but
just take
that's
your time.
a perfect example of over torquing.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
When you
Somebody
hear
came
that
in
on
there.
a fill plug?
Yeah. Right. It's a fill plug, right?
Yeah.
There's no pressure in there, you know? There it goes. All right.
All right, guys, so AMSOIL, trans and diff fluid. You can also use the red severe gear. This has been just fine for us. It's what AMSOIL calls for. And if you can get a fancy little nipple with the hose there, it makes it a lot easier. And I recommend, if you're dealing with the front diffs, go with the bag, because it can come in
Yeah.
a jug too. The bag just makes your life a lot,
Yep.
a lot easier. It does not show a gauge on the side where you're at, but this is one that you fill till it comes out the fill.
Right.
So you-
Once it starts flowing out, then you stop, and that's the end of it.
And I'll show you something. When it first comes out, I like to spin the front tires
Okay.
because it gets the gears
Oh,
moving
yeah,
in there.
makes sense.
You know, and you
All
might
right.
get another ounce or two in there.
Tell me when, big guy. Drink up, little buddies.
Oh, this is where I make a mess. We were supposed to have a rag down in there.
Here, the rag's right here.
Because we know for a fact we're filling it until it comes out, right?
Right. Come on. There we go.
See, when I'm on camera, I try to be a little cleaner.
Right.
No, I got buddies. They're like, do you just like roll around on the ground? I'm like, that's what it calls for.
Right.
Customers pull in and they're asking questions, and next thing you know, I'm laying in the dirt out there on my back.
I mean, that's what you got to do, right?
We have a uniform company. They clean them. I got 10 changes, so
Oh, there you go.
the wife was happy with that.
Yeah, it saves your washer and
She didn't even
dryer.
wanna put my stuff in her washer and dryer.
Right?
If any of you guys know, wives are picky about their washer and dryer.
Yeah, just a little bit.
There we go. We got a little drip, so go ahead and spin the front tires.
Oh,
Okay. Give her another squirt. If it comes out instantly, which it's taking a little, so. There it's coming again. Go ahead and spin the tires. Give her another little squirt.
what a great tip. I would have
say-
never thought in a million years to do that.
Well, before we got into this, when I was doing mine, a buddy of mine works over at S&S Power Sports, and I was filling mine, and I said, man, I feel like every time I'm filling it, I just like wait 5 minutes and it'll take a little more, and then wait 5 minutes and it'll take a little more. And it's like, what if I just filled it till it came out? I would have been missing all that fluid.
That's a lot of fluid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said, just twist your front tires and it'll get the gears in there and it'll work it in. I'm like, no
Totally makes
shit.
sense. Yep. And see, I've never heard anybody ever say that. So great piece of advice.
It's
Thanks,
just,
Matt.
Once again, it's peace of mind.
For sure.
You know it.
I know with 100% certainty that
No
that
doubt.
diff,
It's
100%. I am not stressing over that thing continuing to work or not.
I mean, I'm kind of that guy. I don't like to regret. So if I do something not to my fullest, I'll
Right.
lay in bed like, did
Well,
I?
just like the transmission, right? It's like if we would have just said, yep, AMSOIL,
No.
okay, and we would have put less than a quart in there, how long would that tranny last, you think? Not long,
It'd probably been fine, to be honest, because you're going to stay on your fluids.
right?
It probably would have been fine. Now, if you're out there running it full, full capacity, going through the mud, and you
Right.
do that for 6-8 hours, and you're low on fluid like that, you're gonna tear it up.
Right, right.
But the reason why I say with half capacity, yeah, AMSOIL, which is about 10 times better than OEM oil,
Yep,
so you probably would have been good.
yep. So we are going to now,
Clean it. Spray it with brake clean.
right there, and also we are going to start the car, let it run for a minute, and then we're going to check the oil, and we'll be right back. All right, so we just ran the machine for probably about 3 minutes or so. Let it get nice and warmed up. We're going to check the oil here again. Once again, a dipstick, not a screw stick, right? Mm-hmm. So we're just touching it in there and then pulling it out.
Okay, so she is at the min.
Okay.
Probably should have given her a minute or two after you run it. Let the oil get down in there.
Yep. So she needs just a hair more.
Yep.
cracking into a new one.
There you go, making a mess again. All right, we're exactly on. So it was the 2.1, exactly like Amsoil called.
That is what they called for. You're right.
We're in good shape.
Yep. It was right on that one.
Yep. They want to update that because we didn't do it on camera, but when we were reading it, it said transmission and differential were two separate.
Right, and this one is not that way.
Yep. So they have that mixed up a little bit.
Yeah, and just to show you guys what we're referring to. So if you look in here, right, this is your transmission. It's part of the rear differential. There's nothing that separates those two. That's one solid casing. So, obviously if you do have a differential issue and you're going to pull it apart anyway, you might as well rebuild the transmission at the same time, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it's like you already split the cases. You might as well just replace everything you need to.
90% of the time when something goes wrong in there, it takes out.
It takes out both, yep.
Yep.
So, but all right. So, I guess now we are on to the clutch and we'll be back. Good.
All right, guys, so one of the main reasons why I bought this 1/4-inch drive is 4 clutches for clutch covers.
Yep.
A lot of them screw right into plastic. The most common thing for people to do is over torque them, spin out the plastic.
Yep.
Well, I guess, weren't you supposed to do this? Don't you have a fancy pack in there? You could like pull it all out and show them? Or?
I don't actually have my right angle drill with me, and mine is 3/8.
Man, 3/8.
It is.
It's a little bit of power there.
I probably need to get a 1/4, don't
I'm
I?
telling you, I like the 1/4 because then you can, because we get excited, we start, "Wham," and if it starts to tighten up, it's not just going home.
Right.
So I got an extension, I got 8 millimeter. I usually bring a swivel.
For that one bottom one.
Yep, there's always that one.
Yep.
Okay.
And I can tell you right now, it's this one.
Another thing that's normal, and we'll see, is look at what the heck. So you got all these bolts are 8 mil, and then you're gonna have the clamp that I have to take off.
Yeah.
A 7.
Yep.
So I got a 7 with me because I knew that.
Right.
But at the same time, what I was gonna recommend is a lot of guys that stay up on their own stuff, they'll swap that clamp out.
Okay.
So it has an 8 mil.
Oh.
So it comes down to one tool.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's worth the time.
Actually, when I did it, I think I just used a screwdriver.
Right. But
Yeah.
you get what
But
I'm
you're
saying.
right,
If
yeah.
you get a clamp and now it's one tool.
One less tool
Yep.
to have
Yep.
on the ground in the field.
And I'll tell you right now, watch these suckers. They're like a 10 mil. They'll disappear. They grow legs.
Right.
I'm not shitting you.
Right.
They grow legs. I took them off. They're right there. And I go to put them back on, and I'm missing one.
I actually bought a little magnetic tray to take out in the field with me for that purpose.
Yep. But I'm saying, keep an eye on them.
Yep.
They'll grow legs.
Right.
They're kind of like them clips. that
Right.
you're pulling out. They seem to do the same.
And the next time you guys see us doing this, we're going to be putting aftermarket assassins on here.
Which I'm excited to start doing that.
I'm really excited.
I want to see what we can turn this machine into.
Oh, yeah.
With the clutches. And then if we do an exhaust,
Yep.
and let them
Yeah, they send the tune. So when you order the lock and load kit from Aftermarket Assassin, it's actually really cool because you can add 2 different tunes. Now I run premium fuel in this.
Sorry, Moose.
That's okay. So I run premium fuel. You can run rec fuel. We do have 2 stations in town that carry rec fuel. Well, one and the other one's about to. After talking with a lot of people, everybody was like, you know what, it's cool because you're going to go through the fuel. But if you're going to let it sit, put the rec fuel in it and run some of that through it. Because then you don't have that ether problem, right, or that ethanol.
So I kind of am. If you don't ride your machine a lot, I guess rec fuel. But if you look at the specifications, it calls for a higher octane than any
Yeah,
fuel.
and we have 93 here in town.
So some people swear by it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you have an octane rating. Me personally, I run premium year round.
Yep.
But my machines also started and ran once a week guaranteed.
Sure.
No matter what time.
Mine as well. Absolutely.
So it's never had an issue. But when I
Right.
worked at the dealership, if they put premium in a machine and it sat on the lot for 3 months, it would foul plugs.
Yep.
It would have problems.
Yep. Yep, and that's exactly how I kind of looked at it is, 93. So like I was saying, the nice thing about Aftermarket Assassins is you can tell them the grade of fuel that you're gonna run, and they send the tuner, the Power Vision, set to that octane level, right? So generally you can say, okay, I'm gonna run 91, and if you run 93, it won't be that big of a difference, but you're gonna wanna always run those premiums. Now, because I'm getting the lock and loaded kit first, which is the clutches, so it's gonna be the clutches as well as a Power Vision tuner. I'm gonna set it to, my first tune that comes with it will be for just the clutches. And then after that, I'm gonna add the Aftermarket Assassin's exhaust. So I'll set my second tune to be ready to run that Aftermarket Assassin's exhaust.
Hey, Matthew, you want to get me the air hose set up and a blower? All right, so at first glance, they're dirty, very dirty.
No, that was probably my bad.
Do you see it?
Yeah. No.
I mean, the clutches, I don't think they've ever been blown out or clean. That's one thing they might have missed. Now, a dealer, nobody tells you about that. I spoke about it on the last video.
Right.
But
Now-
we're gonna see, I'm gonna blow it.
Now this thing here, I took that into my shower, the cover,
I can tell.
and I scrubbed
It's
it.
clean.
Yeah, I scrubbed
But
it.
this is, they didn't blow out their clutches.
All right.
So I don't know how your camera's gonna pick it up, and I don't know if it's gonna maybe get it real dusty, but it might
It's
get
all right.
bad
Go
in
ahead.
here.
Go for it.
All right, buddy.
It's all right. Oh, geez, oh, Pete.
Yeah,
That is a ton.
That's why I said it's gonna get bad.
Oh, you could see it on film.
Look at it. I mean, it's thick. You can't even breathe after. right, so as you can see, if you can see,
Yeah, I can see a little bit.
holy cow.
That was bad, right?
So that's why I was touching so much on that video, last video, or on the clutches is, you want to blow these out
Every time.
almost every ride.
Right.
Like here in St. Helen, it's really bad. It's really dusty, and we just have that, I say it's like talcum powder. It's like, it gets so caked in these clutches, it changes the weighting, changes everything. Like it'll take
Is
out
that a lot of the reason that maybe I was smelling my belt as bad as I was?
maybe, but usually it just causes things to go bad and like start to gum up. So, but
So
I
when
just
we,
know when you see that much dust, that's weight on the clutches, it's wear on it, and all your slides, everything, your rollers, they're all gonna be affected by that stuff.
right.
And then when it gets like humid outside, then it turns it into like a paste, and it starts binding everything up. So like I was saying, blow it out after every ride, even. So you go on a ride, long ride, blow it out. If it don't look bad, maybe skip a day or whatever. But just know that they're clean, because that's what's causing $2,000 to $4,000 fixes.
So when we tear these out to do the aftermarket assassin stuff, we're gonna really scrub these things, aren't we?
Well, yeah, I mean, it don't matter the appearance really. You just got to stay up on it. You
Yeah.
got to clean it.
Yeah.
If you blow it out every time, you're going to be okay.
Okay.
Now, so I don't know if they're going to be able to see, but you got to get in here. You got to check your rollers. So you're going to have 3 rollers on this. So you take your finger, you spin them, which this one's not spinning.
It's not what?
It's not spinning. This one is not spinning. This one's not spinning. So they're binding up a little bit. You know what? I'd say you need new rollers. Because if you look in here, you see this gap on the one side?
Yep.
So it's kind of, how would I explain it? It's kind of like a rod bearing. You check a rod by up and down play, not side to side. So your rollers are allowed to slide back and forth. But if they can cock on that shaft, then they can bind up.
So I believe that the aftermarket Assassin's kit comes with new rollers for that,
Yep.
right? So, okay.
So that's something you gotta check. I mean, they're not real gouged or nothing. I mean, for the amount of miles, it's not in terrible shape. But your helix,
Definitely OEM parts.
okay, now listen. I can spin this one when it's in that position.
Yep.
Let's see if we can spin that next one when it's in
And
that.
definitely don't lubricate those guys.
Yep, this one spins too. So it's telling me that it's got some wear, because it'll spin in this position, but it won't spin over here. And then come in here and feel this. The inside of your helix, you can feel a bump. See that ball right, or that roller?
Yeah,
See,
oh, I can feel it right there.
That's not supposed to be there.
Okay.
So
that's just a lot of miles, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
this
a lot
thing's
of
just
miles.
been used.
So what I would recommend is when you do the aftermarket kit, get a new helix.
I think it comes with a Helix.
Okay.
I think it comes with Helix. Comes with Helix, springs, rollers, and the weights.
Yeah. So that's another thing you got to check is you put your finger in here and you hear that?
Yep.
That weight's free. That weight's free. That weight's free. So the dust can cause that to gum up and they won't want to move right. And it won't shift right.
And when we do the clutch kit, guys, we'll go into depth on how the clutch works and, why those, all the components work together to do what they do. So
like I said, this is something everybody wants to do. When you have your clutch cover off, touch your weights, make sure they move. Touch your rollers, make sure they roll. Look at them. Do they have big gouges? Like, how are they riding?
Yeah.
And there's like a ramp inside here, and you can feel it with your finger. I had Moose feel it.
Oh yeah, for
But you'll
sure. You
feel
can
it
feel a
right with
divot.
it, and each one has the same divot on it. Then you reach in and you feel the inside of your sheaves on your primary clutch. This actually feels amazing.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like when I swapped the belt, at that point I had watched enough videos that I knew it wasn't like gouged up or cut or anything like that.
Well, the gouges, it kind of tends to get some gouges. Minute is normal. I mean, dirt gets in there and stuff. But what happens is when it starts actually wearing, I don't know, I can't find the word, but it makes it concave.
Right.
You know, it actually wears like a bowl into it.
Yeah.
That's going to tell you, more than likely, that's going to tell you that your clutches are misaligned. Mm-hmm. So it's wearing on one side more than the other. This tells me with that many miles, this thing's running the clutch. You're not going to have clutch issues. You know?
Yeah, I mean, and that's just to go to show that nobody really ragged on this machine, right? You know, we've got decent parts. The parts that are wearable parts are showing the wear that they should. But, you know, I mean, unless somebody paid a lot of money to have those clutches redone.
So what I'm doing now is I'm just watching the belt, and I'm make sure I look at every single spot of it, because what will happen is it'll be a good belt, but you'll find a spot.
It's like
They call
glazed.
it hourglass that's actually worn in.
Oh,
And
yeah.
What happens is, not saying you do it, but some people would think they can brake torque it. So they're on the brakes and the gas, and it'll sit there and just slip, and it will slip in one spot, and it will actually just cause a spot this big. So you can open up, oh yeah, my belt looks great, but if you don't actually rotate it
Right.
and look at it, you don't know.
Right.
And you can do that to your machine and not really know that you did it.
Sure.
So if you're on a hill and the guy in front of you stops and you have to stop and you're in high, and when you go to take off, if it's like, bowl, and you got to keep giving it more, just stop, put it in low.
Right.
Anytime you feel a lot of resistance from 0 mile an hour, like your takeoff, just stop, put it in low. Because otherwise you're going to slip your belt.
Yep.
If you decide you're going to pull someone out of the mud or stuck,
Low gear, four-wheel drive.
and you're going to have it in drive, it better be low.
Right.
Because you are going to smoke it.
Now, when I drove from my house over to here, I ran it in high, right?
Yeah.
Two-wheel drive high.
Yep.
You know, I mean, even though I was only doing, 25, I just felt that, I thought about the RPMs, right? Like I can do 25 in high at a lower RPM than if I was in low, right?
See, 25 on a road is perfectly fine because you're not in any kind of
Right, there's no real resistance. Yeah.
Well, if you're in the deep sand and you're only going 25 mile an hour all day, you're not going over 30, run it low.
Right.
Because you're legit slipping your belt just a little bit.
Right.
And I noticed that people that hammer on their machine and really beat the crap out of it, I see that the clutches are in better shape than a guy that does 25 all day long.
Right. Yeah, I try to
they're riding
fluctuate my riding, right? Like sometimes I'll keep it at a higher RPM, then I'll lower it and just, kind of, go from 40 to 30 to 40 to 30, especially now because I did replace this belt. This is a brand new belt, and I know it needs to be broken in. The other thing I was going to talk about, and this could probably be a whole nother discussion, is the difference between sport mode and eco mode, right? I have a tendency when I'm on the trails and I'm in 2 or 4-wheel drive, I generally, if I'm just putzing around with my wife and stuff, I put it in eco and just kind of take it easy, right? Like I'm not trying to rag out the machine. You switch this thing to sport and those RPMs want to go, man. It's like, it's go time,
So another good reason why you're opening this is just another one of them peace of mind.
Yep.
You're looking at your belt, you beat the crap out of it last weekend or whatever. You went through some mud. If you pull your clutches, you blow them out, you clean them, and you rotate your clutch, and you see that your belt's in excellent condition, your clutch hasn't changed, you have no residue on your clutches. You're like, all right, well, this machine, I can do that. I wasn't hurting it.
Yeah.
Because
now, when you swap your belt and, let's just say that the belt's off, can you actually use brake cleaner on those surfaces just to kind of wipe them off, or do you recommend like maybe just rubbing alcohol just to kind of take that residual off, or just leave it alone?
That's kind of a preference thing. In my mind, when I have done it in the past, it seemed like it made it a bigger job, because when I sprayed it with brake clean, it would, like, if you think about it, now you're actually allowing it to drip down into spots.
Yeah,
You
that
get
makes
where I'm
sense.
coming
Yeah,
from?
yeah, yeah, because
So
those
then-
are two pieces.
Yeah, so then when I sprayed it and I got it wet like that, I watched, like, you see that there's a bunch of residue on this clutch. So you spray it, now you got stuff dripping down in there, and then it can get into your rollers or whatever.
So if you're going to do that, pull your clutch
You're
off.
going to have to do it all, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you spray anything on this, you really need to take it off, disassemble it, clean every bit of it.
Okay.
Now, if you're just doing maintenance like we're doing right now, just blow it out.
Yep.
Don't get no moisture on it or nothing. Just
Gotcha.
blow it out and
Yeah.
then stay on top of it.
Now, we did talk about using a Scotch-Brite, right?
Yep.
So let me grab that, and just so you can kind of give everybody an idea of why to use this. So this is just a standard Scotch-Brite pad.
Yep.
And
So I wouldn't touch the clutches in this situation, just so you know.
Yep.
The clutches are clean. They're beautiful. There's no residue. There's no problem. No reason to pull the belt. Now, if I was putting a new belt on, I would definitely clean the sheaves. Now, I don't know if this is really what I should tell you guys, but what I do is I fire the machine up without the belt on, and I actually just very carefully reach my hand in there and I clean the sheaves.
yeah,
do
yeah.
not
So
recommend
yeah,
that
let's
to anyone.
disclaimer: don't do that.
Yeah.
Because if your finger gets caught in there, your hand or whatever, you're going to lose a hand.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Absolutely. Maybe,
100%.
maybe to the elbow.
Right.
I mean,
Absolutely. It'll suck you right into that machine and tear you right to the bone, and you won't be able to get to that key to shut it off.
but we touch hundreds of these. This is the way I do it. We are trying to make money here. If I was to sit in here and do that with the belt off by hand, what I can achieve doing it with the engine running, it would take me 15 minutes, maybe longer.
Yeah.
Where I can do it in 2 minutes with the machine running.
Right.
Like
Once
I
again,
said,
disclaimer:
it's
do not do
definitely
that.
Not something
Right.
I don't even enjoy doing it, but whatever.
Right. I get it.
I'm real. I'm just telling you.
Right,
what
right,
I do. But the secondary is different. You can't. The secondary does not spin when the engine's running. So no matter what, you're manually.
Right. Until you give it
cleaning
gas and
that.
it's in gear.
Now, I'll be totally honest. Usually, the secondary doesn't have nearly what the primary does, because the primary is the driven clutch, or
Right.
the drive clutch.
Yep.
So you'll tell by looking at it. Like I said, the more you pull this off, the more familiar you're going to get with it, and you're going to catch anything. You're going to be like, dude, my belt's never worn like that, and it just started doing it. And,
Yep.
and if you, at that point, need to bring it in, you bring it in. We go a little further, and we'll find the issue.
Sure.
If something changes like that quick, you know you got an issue, stop riding it, limp her home, and get it addressed.
For sure.
Them are expensive.
Yeah. Big
I would
dollars.
just guess that is like $1,600 just for an OEM, not even an upgraded or anything.
That's just insane.
Just that on its own.
Yeah. No, thank you.
So we'll just put her back together. Like I said, these right here are plastic. That's what them bolts screw into. They're just a thread that threads into plastic. So here's another thing. Every time you run it in there, doesn't even mean that it isn't making a new thread,
Right.
right? Because
Right.
it's plastic
Right.
in the way this is. So as soon as that sucker's tight, you'll feel it. But you just got to get the feel for it.
Yeah. So there you guys have it. You know, once again, you know, thank you so much to Matt and all your knowledge, right? Because preventative maintenance, preventative maintenance, preventative maintenance.
Peace of
right?
mind.
Everything that we talked about in today's video, whether it was just looking at the oil after it drained, right? A lot of people don't do that. And it can start showing you that you're starting to develop a problem. And if you can catch that problem early enough, right, it could save you thousands of dollars. You know, like especially like the clutches. Like you guys saw that. Wow, was I blown away.
I mean, the whole job, I barely got dirty, and then look, that's clutch.
Right.
Clutch, you would never think that
No,
that would be.
no,
your
I couldn't
dirtiest job.
believe how much came out of there. And the funny thing is, when I swapped the belt, I did it at my house, and I have a compressor, and I thought, it looks clean to me.
It always looks clean. It's insane. Sometimes I open them up, they look brand new.
Yeah.
And I'm like, step back to the customer, and they're like what? And then I start blowing it, and they're like, holy cow.
Right, and the next thing you know, they're standing outside.
Yeah, it will legit fill this whole building.
Right.
And it's hard to capture on camera.
No, actually, the camera did a really good job.
It does, but it didn't. I couldn't see the clutch anymore.
Right,
when
but
I
there was
blowing.
there was a time on the camera where I could barely see you.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it did multiply it by 2.
Yeah,
But,
just wait till you do it yourself.
Right.
It'll be like, no way.
So, but next video, we're going to be probably doing the aftermarket assassin stuff. There is a little bit of work that we need to do with the shocks. We already discussed that.
Yep.
You know, we're going to be doing miscellaneous videos along the way. I'm going to be bringing you guys some videos of me doing some of the install of my, well, I got a soundbar remote. I got the rugged radio kit. I'll probably actually do the rugged radio next because I can do most of that on my own at home. But yeah, we'll be back with more of these videos. So once again, do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Matt's going to be starting a YouTube channel as well. So once that comes live, I'll talk about it here, and then you guys can check it out there. You know, we're going to be doing rides and all kinds of stuff. So
We race.
yeah,
We got Matthew, he's 16.
yeah,
He beats the crap out of that machine.
Yeah.
310 horsepower to the ground in a YXZ.
yeah.
We live in exit 222, St. Helen, Michigan. So if you guys never seen that, just Google it, look into it. It's an off-road capital, I call it.
Absolutely. Without a doubt, it's the mecca of side-by-sides in Michigan.
But this stuff's pretty boring compared to what we'll be doing. Moose is going to go right along with us, and we're going to get some action. Yeah. I think he's going to be like our survival guy. He's
Right,
got the,
yeah.
you know, all the
Yeah,
equipment.
I'm going to be carrying a lot of equipment on this machine. It's
Didn't
more...
you say tourniquet and everything?
Oh, yeah. No, I carry medical equipment everywhere I go. So,
We kind of need that guy with us.
right. But thanks again, Matt.
No
I definitely
problem, bro.
appreciate it. And if you guys need service and you're in the St. Helen area or Houghton Lake or West Branch or anywhere around Roscommon County, definitely give Matt a call.
Or if you're just looking to go for a ride. I love when
Yes.
customers come in and say, I want you to take me on a ride.
Right.
Because then I can tell my boss, which is my wife, I can say, customer's right. They want to go on a ride, babe. I got to
True
go
story.
riding. She's always
True
like,
story.
get out of here. Just go do it.
Right.
So, come on in. Let's go for a ride.
Right. So, till next time, be good to each other. God bless, and we'll see you soon.
Peace.